The following is a live presentation of Retro Sports Network, home of the champions of the past, present, and or future. It's a beautiful snowy day almost in the neighborhood. It's the 25th of January. It's noon Eastern. I'm Ron Juckett. Welcome to the program for this 25th day of January 2023. And yes, we actually do have the White Sox on today as the Seattle Mariners wing their way back home, a weekend series at Comiskey Park between the 15-7 Seattle Mariners and the 16-4 Chicago White Sox. The White Sox, one of the two big surprises so far in the early part of the season. Along with the Cincinnati Reds, the White Sox really aren't expected to do too much in this replay. Cleveland should win the American League Central when all is said and done, but right now it is Chicago's world, and we are welcome to it. As we said, they are 16-4. Seattle, we featured them last night. They have lost two straight. They lost to the Yankees on our stream, and then again. So they are 15-7. They still have a pretty good size lead over Oakland. So that part of the concern is not there. But if they do want to reach the record that they hoped, win the 116 games, they got to win some of these. And so it's the White Sox and the Mariners on a beautiful night in Chicago. As Retro Sports Network presents 2001, an Action PC Season Odyssey. Tonight, from Comiskey Park in Chicago, it is the Chicago White Sox and the Seattle Mariners. And today's game is brought to you by DigitalDice.com, the best darn podcast on the web for your sports simulation and replay needs. Find us today on Spotify, Spreaker, iTunes, or wherever else fine podcasts are listed. And in the long history of baseball on Retro Sports Network, I'm not sure we've ever really featured too much from Comiskey. Old and certainly not new. So the first game there, at a ballpark that kind of looks like Yankee Stadium, at least in this iteration. Anyway, James Baldwin gets the call for the White Sox today. He is 1-0 with an earned run average of 6. He is 29 years old. Fastball tops out at 88 and a ground ball pitcher. His one start came 6 days ago against the Twins. So last Saturday, a 9-4 win, 6 innings, 99 pitches, 7 hits, 4 runs all earned. Snowing in Rochester, New York already. We're about to get it. We're about to get 5 here in the city. My mom was going to get close to a foot in the mountains. Baldwin gave up 2 homers. He didn't walk anybody and struck out 5. And this will be the lineup he'll face. Ichiro leads off in right field. Mike Cameron is in center, will bat second. Edgar Martinez, the DH, goes third. John Olerud cleans up at first. Brett Boone at second will bat fifth. Al Martin in left will go sixth. Mike Lampkin behind the plate going seventh. David Bell at third, batting eighth, and Carlos Guillen at short, batting ninth. They've got 2 on the ground in Rochester, and you're calling for 6 overall. Yep, going to be one of those. We'll see what we get when we wake up storms. Defensively for the White Sox is Lee in left. He's a 6 and a 6. Chris Singleton is 7 and a 6 in center. His dad is with the Yankees on television. Maggie Ordonez is a 4 and a 9 in right. Herbert Perry is a 4 at third. Valentin is a 4 at short. I think it's John. Ray Durham is 7 at second. Frank Thomas, who should be a DH, is a 1 at first, so that's not a Strat 1. Paul behind the plate, I think it's Don Paul. He's a 2 and a 1. That's not good. Baldwin is a 7 on the mound with a 1,000 fielding percentage. So 57 degrees on the south side of Chicago. Winds blowing in from left at 2. Clear skies. Tomorrow we'll have the North Siders in San Francisco. But for now, it's the White Sox and the Mariners. Ichiro stepping in at 323. 3 homers and 10 RBI. Baldwin, 105 pitches. And Aaron Seeley, his counterpart again, 105 pitches thereabouts. This one starts Ichiro right back to Don Paul. Throws it over to Durham. for the out, 1 out. So a drag bunt from Ichiro. And, of course, Don's wife cooks a lot of fish because if it's not Mrs. Paul's, throw it back. Here's Mike Cameron, 179, no homers and 2 RBI. Baldwin winds and deals, and Cameron sends this one into shallow right. Ordonez rides the Schwinn, 2 out. For Edgar Martinez, 321, 6 homers, 21 RBI. So far, an easy inning for Baldwin. See if I can jinx him. Martinez sends this one high and deep into right center. Ordonez, that'll stay in the yard, and that will retire the side. So the Mariners go down on 12 pitches. Half an inning in the books, no score. So here's Aaron Seeley, 31 years old. He's a curveball pitcher, and the fastball tops out at 84, a ground ball pitcher. Good morning from Vegas, where I can't imagine it's 26 and cloudy. Seeley, the former Red Sox pitcher, last went 5 days ago, so Sunday against the Angels in a 6-2 loss. Went 6 innings, 92 pitches, 3 hits, 2 runs, both earned. He walked 3, struck out 4. His win came against the Rangers on the 16th, and the loss came opening week to Oakland on the 4th. So overall for Aaron, 26 1/3 innings, 24 hits, 14 runs, all earned. The 2 homers came against Oakland. He has walked 7 and struck out 13. A 1-1 record. He won 15 in real life with an earned run average of 478. Which with an easy pass gets you over a couple bridges in New York City. It'll be Ray Durham leading off for Chicago at second base. 45 and sunny from Vegas. That's cold. John Valentin, or is it Jose? We'll see in a moment. At short, well, bat second. Frank Thomas at first goes third. Maggie Ordonez in right goes fourth. Paul Konerko, the DH, batting fifth. Carlos Lee in left will bat sixth. Chris Singleton in center batting seventh. Herb Parry at third goes eighth. And again, Mr. Paul behind the plate, batting ninth. Apparently 45 is good gambling weather because you want to be inside. Although, true story, the Strip in Vegas is not in Vegas. So Durham at 256, 6 homers and 13 RBI. Seeley winds and fires, and that's right back to Aaron towards first, over to Olerud for the out. Al Martin Volvo was an 8-2 and left. Mike Cameron a 10-5 in center. Ichiro a 10-8 in right. It is Jose Valentin, not John Valentin. Bell is a 6 at third. Guillen a 3 at short. Brett Boone a 6 at second. Olerud a 6 at first. Lampkin is a 5 and a 3 behind the plate, and Seeley is an 8 on the mound with a .970 fielding percentage. Jose Valentin is at 226, 3 homers and 15 RBI. I think John Valentin is gone at this point, and my Red Sox bias is showing. Pitched from Seeley, got him. An 0-2 curveball swung on and missed. So 2 out for Frank Thomas at the end of his career, at least with Chicago. Does he go someplace? The MVP in 93 and the MVP in 94. 33 years old, so shouldn't be at the end of the line quite yet. 309, 7 homers and 17 RBI. Aaron's pitch, and there's a fly ball right field. Ichiro moves over and makes the catch to retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors. After 1 here at Comiskey, no score. So John Olerud, Brett Boone, and Al Martin for the M's here in the second. Olerud at 288, 2 homers and 8 RBI. Baldwin starts the second with a ground ball base hit left side. Lee will pick it up, and the Mariners have their first hit. Brings up Brett Boone. Brett at 388. What a start. 5 homers and 20 RBI. This is game 23 for Seattle and game 21 for the Shy Sox. Baldwin kicks and fires. Boone into left field. Lee going back there, way back. And in the immortal words of Ken Harrelson, you can put it on the board. Yes! So it's 2-0 Seattle on the home run from Brett Boone. What? I wasn't supposed to do the Hawk Harrelson thing for the other team? Aw. So for Boone, it's his 6th. So Baldwin, who would give up 15 on the real year and 95 innings, gives up 1 here. And that was just kind of one that was clobbered high into the bleachers here at Comiskey. In fact, that one hit off the Chicago Tribune sign in left field. That ball was crushed. And this is a big offensive ballpark as far as homers are concerned. Lefties 28% higher than average and righties 17%. And so it's 2-0 Seattle. For Al Martin at 267, no homers and 4 RBI. Russian Reb isn't here. He was wanting me to do more announcer impressions, so hopefully he'll like that when he watches this on the tube. Baldwin tries to gather himself. Pitch to Martin, ground ball to Perry. Herb a long throw to first. Martin's running. Thomas got him. Dave just had a hamburger, which I think he was trying to brag about with me when he called it 11:55. Where'd you get your hamburger from? Here's Tom Lampkin. Lampkin at 276. A homer and 5 RBI. 2-0 Mariners. 1 out here in the second. Baldwin's pitch struck him out. A full count fastball swung on and missed. And there's 2 out for David Bell. Had 323, 5 homers, and 14 RBI. Had a 7-game hitting streak snapped a couple nights ago against the Yankees. Market Basket, as most good grocery stores do, has hot food to go. Hannaford's up here as a better hot food. I had some wings from the place we normally get our groceries delivered from. They weren't great. They weren't terrible, but they weren't great. But none of those places do burgers. Pitch to Bell. David pops it up left side. Valentine calls everyone else off as I got to sneeze. Makes the catch, and that will retire the side. 2 runs on the big homer by Brett Boone on 2 hits and no errors. Mariners don't leave anybody on. Bottom of the second, 2-0. So young Maggie Ordonez will lead it off for the White Sox. Konerko and Lee to follow. Maggie at 366, 2 homers, and 10 RBI. The Hannafords, which is Food Lion down south, and a couple other name brand or nameplates around the country, does a shepherd's pie to die for. The potatoes are plausibly real, and it's corn, onion gravy, and Hamburg mixed together. Oh, is it good. Did you get fries with that? Pitch to Ordonez. There's a ground ball to third. Bell really can't play it. And Ordonez reaches. Russian Reb is here. You missed my impression of Hawk Harrelson. So here's Konerko. Paulie at 351. 2 homers and 22 RBI. Yep, I did one. So Seeley staked to a 2-run lead. Throws to first, Ordonez. I wasn't even thinking about it. Maybe I should have. So Ordonez goes. Lampkin's just going to sit there and hold it. And Maggie has his 4th stolen base. That's short for Maglio, oh, by the way. So runner on second for Konerko, who has a 1-ball count. Seeley from the stretch. Konerko Laces that one into shallow left field for a base hit. Martin will pick it up. Ordonez will round third. And Jerry Manuel's going to run on that 2-arm. So here comes Ordonez. The plate's going to be close, but no. Oh, they got him! They did get him. So normally I don't like to make the first out on the bases, but with a bad arm and good speed, Martin gets credit for the strike, and there's 1 out. And that'll bring up Carlos Lee at 315, 5 homers and 14 RBI. So Jerry Manuel with a boo-boo. Yeah, we'll pretend it's Jerry's fault, not mine. And so Seeley gets a reprieve from the governor there. Pitch to Lee. Struck him out. He got him to swing and chase an 85-mile-an-hour fastball. What'd you put on your hamburger, Gardner? So here's Chris Singleton at 314. 3 triples already, 2 homers and 8 RBI. Seeley deals. There's a ground ball to Guillen. Carlos should go to second for the easy out. Goes to first and still retires aside. So the White Sox try and cannot score. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 error. Error doesn't hurt after 2. It's 2-0 Seattle. So Guillen then will flip the lineup for Ichiro and Cameron. Carlos at 254, a triple and 3 RBI. Baldwin starts the third. Struck him out. He got him to chase a cutter for a 1 out. And as Ichiro steps to the plate, Baldwin's opening 9, 37 pitches, 2 1/3 innings. 2 hits. The home run from Brett Boone. No walks and 2 strikeouts. How you doing? Midlife crisis. A sub now for 24 months. That's 2 years. I've been doing this a while. Pitch to Ichiro. There's a liner in the right field. That's going to drop in front of Ordonez for a single. And there's 1 out for Cameron, who's 0 for 1. Baldwin deals. There goes Ichiro. The throw down to Durham from Paul is not in time, and that's his 8th stolen base of the year. When this offense gets clicking, it's pinball. 1 strike count to Cameron. Popped up. Paul to the screen. And that is out of play. So the count now 0-2. Baldwin from the stretch. Cameron in the right center field. That's going to be a base hit. Ichiro's going to round third. Ordonez has a cannon. Throws it back in the infield. And Ichiro respected the arm and held. Ichiro could have scored easily on that base hit, but chose to not force the issue. And it's runners on the corners, 1 out for Edgar Martinez, who's 0 for 1. Baldwin's pitch. There goes Cameron. And they'll just hold it right there. So Seattle using speed. Whitey Herzog approves. That's their 2nd stolen base of the ball game. And I believe Cameron's 4th of the year. A 1 strike count to Edgar Martinez. Baldwin's pitch. Martinez is, well, it's a fly ball to shallow left center. Singleton coming in hard. Makes the catch. Ichiro goes back to tag and will score without a throw. So although Singleton and a better doesn't have as good of an arm as Ordonez, that was pretty shallow. It's 2 out. Ichiro scores to make it 3-0. And now I'll bring up Olerud. John has a single and a run scored. Baldwin's pitch. There's a fly ball left field. Lee. That'll stay in the yard. And that will be dropped. Lee dropped it. Olerud digging for 2. The throw to Durham is not in time. So Carlos Lee, that .969 fielding percentage out there isn't all that great for an outfielder, and Lee just misplayed it. And it's 4-0 Seattle. So Olerud's on second for Brett Boone, who homered to deep left field his first time up. This time around, another hit to left, but Lee will come in, and that will mercifully end the inning. But the Mariners get 2 on 2 hits and an error. They finally leave a runner on. Bottom of the third here at Comiskey. Seattle 4, Chicago nothing. So here's Herbert Parry. It'll be Parry, Paul, and Durham to face Seeley here in the third. Baldwin halfway through his pitch count on the wrong end of a 4-0 score. Parry at 3-14. That's pie. A home run and 7 RBI. Parry, line drive to third. Bell makes a diving stop, 1 out. It's Josh Paul, not Don. But anyway, doesn't matter. His wife makes a decent fish meal. Josh at 250, 6 for 24. Hit 266 on the real year, 3 homers and 18 RBI. And probably an entire school of fish jokes. Pitch to Paul. And there is a little nubber that's going to get down over Brett Boone's head for a single. And so 1 out for Durham. Opening 9 for Seeley. 32 pitches. 2 1/3 hits. 2 1/3 innings. You can't have a third of a hit. You can have 2 hits. But you can't have a third of a hit. You can also have 2 strikeouts. Durham's 0 for 1. Throw to first. Paul's back. Ray sitting on an 8-game hitting streak. Fly ball, right field. Ichiro over in the corner and makes the catch. Paul retreats back to first. So here's Valentin. Jose struck out his first time up. Seeley from the line with 2 out. Valentin into right center field. Cameron going back. So is Suzuki, and this game is tied. A home run. And because Russian Reb just got here, you can put it on the board. Yes! That's his 4th of the year. Hey. You just put a little bit of Sunday morning preacher in with that, and you get Foghorn Leghorn. Yeah, Ichiro's poor shoulder slamming the outfield wall the other night. Here's the home run. And if you want some alumni from the South Side, it could be, it might be, it is a home run. So there, we have both legendary White Sox announcers covered now. So here's Frank Thomas. 4-2 now, Seattle. Frank is 0 for 1. There's a ground ball to first. Olerud takes it by himself for the out. And that will retire the side, but Jose Valentin's homer cuts the Mariner lead in half. 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors. We go to the 4th. 4-2 Seattle. So Martin, Lampkin, and Bell to face Baldwin here in the 4th. Al is 0 for 1. Baldwin's pitch. There's a grounder past Thomas for a base hit. And so Seattle taking no time to try to put some more runs back on the board. Here's Lampkin. He struck out his first time up. 5th hit for Seattle, only the 3rd for Chicago. In the shallow left center, in comes Singleton. Chris Lewis makes the catch in traffic. Martin scampers back to first. 1 out for Bell. David's 0 for 1. Bernie, who's I think still watching, remembers when Hawk Harrelson worked with Ned Martin and Dick Stockton on Red Sox television. I don't think Harrelson was as extravagant, I guess, for a lack of a better word. Pitch to Bell. There goes Martin. Runner goes. Valentine's only going to have a play at first. Thomas is there, and Bell's retired. So the hit and run moves up Martin 92 out for Guillen, who's 0 for 1. He struck out. I know Bernie goes back to Kurt Gowdy, but I don't remember Harrelson being, again, extravagant with the Red Sox. Pitch from Baldwin to Guillen. There's a ground ball to Durham. Ray in the hole. Throws to Thomas, and that will retire the side. Mariners get a hit and do not score. After 3.5, it's Seattle 4, Chicago 2. And so here are the standings as we start play on this Saturday. Florida still has a 3-game lead over Philly. Atlanta really needs to get its act together. They're 8-15. 3-11 away from Turner Field. And 6-12 in the division. That's not going to get it done. Meanwhile, Florida, like a house of fire, is 14-4 in the NL East. The Reds continue to play Cinderella. They're 15-6. St. Louis and Houston coming up. Pittsburgh at 10-10. And Milwaukee and the Cubs are 8-13. In the West, San Diego has a half-game lead over Colorado. San Francisco a game and a half back. Arizona at 500. And then the Dodgers are 9-13. In the American League East, the Red Sox and the Yankees are both doing quite well, thank you very much. They're both 14-8. Tampa at 12-10. In the Central, the White Sox have won 8 of 10 and 3 straight. They have a 3-game lead over Cleveland, 6.5 over Kansas City, and 8 over Minnesota. Detroit, we don't talk about that. And in the West, Seattle 15-7. They've lost 2 straight. Oakland is below 500. They've lost 4 straight. They're 5 back. So Seattle not losing any ground. So here's Ordonez. Maggie's 0 for 1. Seeley starts the 4th with a pop-up. Left side, Cameron into left center. Makes the catch. In 2001, they would have still been the Devil Rays because that was only their 4th year. I forget when they changed. I think by the time that they beat the Red Sox in 08 to go to the World Series, I think they were just the Rays, or not emphasizing the Devil, which made Flip Wilson very sad because, as you know, Geraldine, the Devil made him do it. Here's Konerko. Paulie's 1 for 1 with a single. Little chopper down to third. Bell across the way to Olerud for the... Oh, it's an error. It gets away from Olerud, and Konerko ends up on second. That throw goes in the dugout, and that's the second error for Seattle. So Konerko stands in scoring position for Carlos Lee, who struck out his first time up. Jamie would know if he was here. But he's not. So Lee is 0 for 1. Seeley's pitch. There's a fly ball left field. Martin over in the corner, and that will be an out. Konerko goes back to tag, and no, I'm not. Not with 2 out. Already got a runner thrown out trying to score. So here's Singleton. Chris is 0 for 1. 2 out, bottom of the fourth, 4-2 Seattle. Seeley delivers. Konerko goes with 2 out, right back up the box. Seeley throws it over to Olerud, and that will retire the side. No runs, no hits in the air. Does not hurt. We go to the fifth here. Comiskey, 4-2 Seattle. So top of the lineup for Baldwin, it'll be Ichiro, Cameron, and Martinez. Ichiro 1 for 2. He stole his 8th base and scored. So Baldwin is opening 18, 65 pitches, 4 innings, 5 hits. No homer to Boone. No walks and 2 strikeouts. Another drag bunt. Durham is there, and that ball is an error. So Paul throws it away, and Suzuki goes to second. So Ichiro hasn't hit one out of the infield yet, and he now gets a 2-base error. So we've had a whopping 4 errors in this game. So here's Cameron. Mike 1 for 2. A single. He stole a base and scored. Edgar on deck. In the left, Lee in the corner. And somebody from Gary, Indiana made that catch, because that's your home sweet home. Count is full to Cameron. No relation to Candace or Kurt. Popped up. Left side. Perry along the line will make the catch. So 1 out for Edgar. Has an RBI and is 0 for 1. Now is driven in 22. Baldwin's pitch. And it swung on and missed, but Paul got in the way. And so Martinez is granted first on the catcher's interference, and that's an E2. So that's the 3rd error for the White Sox in the game. That's a lot. So first and second, Baldwin is just kind of shaking his head. Paul turns and says something to the home plate umpire. Wow. Wow. Somewhere, Harrelson is giving an ID Jester rant about the home plate umpire. Olerud 1 for 2 with the single. High fly ball, right field. Ordonez in the corner. He should get it. That is caught. The seas parted so Ordonez can make the catch in right field. And Ichiro goes back to second. It brings up Boone, who had the homer. He's 1 for 2. So 4-2 Seattle, 2 out here in the top of the 5th. Pitch to Boone. Right back up the middle. Singleton has it lined up and makes the catch. Maybe. He's going to dive for it. Going to try. Got it! A sliding catch against the grass to make it, and that'll do it. They'll leave on 2 on a tremendous catch by Chris Singleton. Stretch halfway home on what will be a snowy day here in Burlington. 4-2 Seattle. Joined us late. Here's how we got here. Brett Boone, a 2-run shot in the second, made it 2-0 Seattle. In the third, they expanded their lead to 4. A sac fly for Edgar Martinez. And then John Olerud hit a fly ball that was dropped to make it 4-0 by the left fielder. In the third, Jose Valentin, a 2-run shot to make it 4-2. And Seattle just failed to score on 2 errors. So Josh Paul, 1 for 1. With 2 errors, including a rare catcher's interference. Seeley, a 3-hitter through 4. 2 runs, both earned, and a homer. He has struck out 2. Baldwin, 5-hitter through 5. 4 runs, 3 earned. And the home run, and he has struck out 2. What's for lunch? I had shrimp noodles. So here's Perry as Seeley starts the 5th. Herbert is 0 for 1. Ground ball to first. Olerud has a long run, 1 out. Brings up Josh Paul. Has singled and scored. That came in the 3rd. Seeley cruising right along here in the 5th. Popped up. Left side. Cameron has it 2 out. So 4 2/3 for Aaron Seeley. 68 pitches, 3 hits, the home run to Valentin. He hasn't walked anybody and struck out 2. Pitch to Ray Durham, who's 0 for 2. Popped up. Lampkin doffs the mask, goes to the screen, and that will be out of play. So 0-2 the count. Cubs and Giants for you tomorrow at lunch. What are you having, Russian Rib? We know that Mr. Gardner had a hamburger from Market Basket. Voted routinely as one of the great local grocery store chains in the country. Pitch to Durham. He gone. Got him looking, and that'll do it. No runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the 6th. It's 4-2 Seattle. So Baldwin, nothing too exciting. Hummus, carrots, and celery. We dieting? Here's Al Martin. Lampkin and Bell to follow. Wait, I'm not supposed to use Hegon against the White Sox? Oh, now you tell me. Al 1 for 2 with the single. Baldwin starts the 6th. There's a ground ball to Durham. Ray in almost on the grass. Over to Thomas, 1 out. Bernie, what'd you have for breakfast? Here's Lampkin. Tom is 0 for 2. A much more enjoyable lunch. How you doing, pesky Pole? What did the cafeteria make for your lunch today, buddy? Baldwin delivers. Lampkin, slow ground ball to Valentin. Gonna have to hurry over to Thomas, and Lampkin is out on a bang banger. So 2 out for David Bell, who is 0 for 2. 5 errors in this game. That's a lot. The White Sox coming in had a fielding percentage of .991 as a team. I think they went their first 7 games without an error. Pitch to Bell is into left. Lee moving over and will make the catch, and that will retire the side. Mariners go in order after 5.5. It's 4-2 Seattle. So Valentin, Thomas, and Ordonez to face Seeley here in the 6th. Protein shake. You're too fat. Trying to get back in shape. I see that your kid was coaching basketball the other day and not wearing Crocs. Good for him. Valentin hit a long home run to right in the 3rd, and that's the only 2 runs Chicago has. Bernie says just coffee. Valentin strikes out. Seeley got him on a 2-2 curve on the inside corner, and that's 4 for Aaron. They'll bring up Thomas, who's 0 for 2. Bernie says just coffee. Was thinking about breakfast. It's only 9:38, by the way, in Vegas. Just couldn't decide. So we'll have an early lunch. To celebrate, he'll have a hot dog. I'm looking to see, what do they serve in Chicago for dogs? Besides putting all sorts of stuff on it. Thomas 0 for 2. Frank swings, fly ball, right field, gonna hook fair. It's gonna drop in front of Ichiro, and Thomas has a single. And Thomas, being the DH that he should be, has my speed. Here's Ordonez. Meglio is 0 for 2, and he has a stolen base. So it's a different crowd today. I'm still surprised how much feedback there was. Bernie's a mustard and relish guy. Will you think anything less of me because I put ketchup on my dogs? How much pushback there was about Scott Rowland making the Hall. I don't get it. I think that was an absolutely fine pick. You can make the case for Helton. Thank you, Bernie. Who I think gets in next year. I'm not huge into relievers, as I said last night, getting in the Hall. But if Wagner gets in, okay. But you win all those Gold Gloves and an 8-time All-Star. I mean, what more do you want? Ordonez. It's a ground ball right side past Boone for a base hit. Suzuki will pick it up. They're going to say Olerud should have made that play. Yeah, I think Helton gets in. So first and second, 1 out for Konerko, who was 1 for 2. I think the knock against Helton is that Coors was his best friend. Murphy didn't get hardly any support from the committee. McGriff got in. And I agree about Dwight Evans. But even when you had players vote on Murph, he didn't do all that well. And I don't understand. I think as far as Murph is concerned, he's a poor man's Jim Rice. You know, he had the couple years where he was the most feared hitter in the National League, and all of his games are on television. Pitch to Lampkin goes out to talk with Seeley. Konerko, by the way, the go-ahead run. Ground ball to Guillen, might be 2. Carlos goes to Boone for 1. Brett turns and fires to Olerud, and it is. It's a 6-4-3. And that will take care of things in the 6th. No runs, 2 hits. They leave on a runner. It's Seattle 4, Chicago 2. So Baldwin couldn't somehow get 7 innings out of this to face Guillen, then Ichiro and Cameron. Carlos 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Baldwin starts the frame with a fly ball to right. Ordonez over in the corner. That ball is hooking. That's a long shot, and that ball is gone. Not sure you'd expect a home run from Carlos Guillen. That's his first of the year. Ordonez just ran out of Chicago to get it. Did not expect a home run there. And it's 5-2 Seattle. So here's Ichiro. Baldwin, second home run he's given up. 27 batters, 96 pitches, 6+ innings, 6 hits, and 2 strikeouts. Ichiro 1 for 3. He has scored and stolen a base. Up the box, Durham. By the bag, over to Thomas for the out. Brings up Cameron, who's 1 for 3. Mike has a single, a stolen base, no runs scored. Brad is our Hall of Fame expert. He's not here, and he would be able to tell me when the next time Dewey would be up for the voters to decide on the Veterans Committee. I definitely think he should be in. And I also think that they need to put 24 on the wall at Fenway. Pitch to Cameron. Struck him out. That's 3 for Baldwin. Got him on an 0-2 curve. 2 out for Edgar, who's 0 for 1. He has a sac fly for an RBI. So Baldwin, I think Keith Hernandez should be in. Pretty much for the same reasons why I'm okay with Roland being in there. I mean, Hernandez may be the best defensive first baseman of all time. I know it's up to the Veterans Committee, and I know now they do it on different eras. Dewey's name wasn't even up this year. Pitch to Martinez. Edgar in right field for a base hit. Ordonez will pick it up. And let's see. Olerud Baldwin with 2 outs here in the 7th. We'll at least see what they say. It'll probably be Lorenzo Barcelo. And it will be Lorenzo Barcelo. So we got a pitching change with 2 out in the 7th. This game coming to you from Comiskey Park in Chicago. So Lorenzo Barcelo making his 5th appearance of the year. Just 23 years old. A fastball at 91. And a ground ball pitcher. Last pitch 5 days ago against the Twins in a 10-3 loss. He went an inning and a third, 25 pitches, 3 hits, and a strikeout. Overall, 5 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, both earned, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. He's 0-1. He lost to the Twins on April 13th with an earned run average of 360. Pesky Pole says I'm much more, and I think that's what it comes down to, is are you a big haul guy or a small haul guy? It feels like they're letting too many in. Roland is very good, but never struck me as a Hall of Famer. And I kind of want, my counterpoint to that would be, because we could all see our, Bonds and Clemens, next time that they'll go to the Veterans Committee. If they're going to be more lenient, I'd rather see them put in guys who were dominant and had Hall of Fame talent, but not typical Hall of Fame career. Guys like Mattingly and Nomar, who I would not vote for, either one of them. You went to the game, you knew they were special. I think 75% of the voters is a very high hurdle to climb, and Roland did. I don't know if Mattingly eventually gets in or not. Nomar, I don't think gets in. He can go visit his wife in the Soccer Hall of Fame. Olerud 1 for 3, a single and a run scored. Yeah, Hall is 1% of those who have ever played the game. Pitch to Olerud. There's a line drive that's going to drop in front of Ordonez for a base hit. And so it's first and second. And they will not throw to third as Edgar trots the extra 90. So 2 outs, runners on the corners for Boone, who had a 2-run homer, his 6th of the year, and is 1 for 3. I mean, Mattingly should be in the Yankee Hall of Fame. No, I think that's a good scene. Then I would disagree. I think Jeff Kent is one of the best second basemen of all time. Doesn't get a lot of support, so I don't think he even got 50% this time. So a majority would have the same opinion that you do. Nothing wrong with that. So runners on the corners, 2 out for Boone. Pitch to Brett. There's a line drive. Durham is there to make the catch, and it's stretch time. 5-2 Seattle. So 1 run, 3 hits, no errors. It's now 5-2. 5 Seattle, 5 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors, and 6 left on for Seattle. 2 runs, 5 hits, 3 errors, and 3 left on for the White Sox. I think Baines is a Hall of Famer. Go look at his numbers. He contributed a long time. A long time. Those numbers are better than, you know, is there a moment that stands out? No. But I think the numbers are there. Here's Lee. Carlos is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. I think Nomar's injury kind of puts him, Bernie, in that Mattingly category of a Hall of Fame kind of peak, but the longevity hurts. Pitch to Lee. There's a laced hit over the head of Brett Boone. That's going to drop for a single. And that'll bring up, well, that's going to get a pitching change. Ryan Franklin's coming in. So Seeley's day is done. But he's aligned for his second win. As Franklin comes in, Ryan making his 9th appearance of the year. No record, a 3.27 ERA. 28 years old, a curveball at 85 and a standard pitcher. Last pitched against the Yankees on the 24th. 2 innings, 32 pitches. In a 6-5 win, he gave up a run. It was earned, a hit, and he struck out 2. 11 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs all earned. A homer. He's walked 2 and struck out 12. But did you ever go to a game so you could see Harold Baines play? I bet a lot of people in Chicago did. I think with baseball, just putting this out there as Ken Singleton. No, he's in New York. Chris Singleton steps in at 0-2. That baseball being now a more regionalized sport than it was when we were kids. That people didn't get to see or pay as much attention to some other players that have some notoriety for good reasons compared to the people that we think should be in. And I think if you look at the case of Fred McGriff, you know, can you make the argument that the voters shouldn't have voted in McGriff? I mean, he's being honored this year, too. Leon first, throw to first, and Carlos is back. When you can go back to Don Sutton if you want, as far as just someone who was a compiler. As long as there are players, Bernie says, on the veteran committee that played during the steroid era. None of the steroids guys get in. Monroe's won't either. Put Pete in after he goes. I think eventually, you have to put in Clemens and Bonds. McGriff should have been in a long time ago. Yep, and 94 kind of hurt the 500 homer thing. But again, you know, Harold Baines was consistent. Keith Hernandez was consistent. Pitch to Singleton. There is a ground ball to Guillen. Carlos goes to first. Singleton running down the line, and they got him. Lee moves to second. 1 out for Perry, who's 0 for 2. McGuire, no. McGuire, I don't think was a Hall of Famer. He had less than 1,500 hits. I'd have to look at Sosa's numbers again outside the home runs. And the other thing with McGuire compared to Bonds and Clemens is how much of, you know, there were substantial parts of Bonds and Clemens' careers that weren't necessarily chemically enhanced. Parry, ground ball to Olerud. John takes to the bag for the out. Can you say that about McGuire? Here's Paul. Josh is 1 for 2. He singled and scored. 5-2 Mariners, 2 outs in the 7th. Now, when they do the Football Hall of Fame, and those announcements are coming out before the Super Bowl, they get in a room and argue it, kind of like we're doing now. Have a discussion about who should be and who shouldn't be. And I think that would be very interesting to be a fly on the wall for. And McGwire wasn't a great hitter or a great fielder or a great runner. He had power. Yeah, that would be the argument against McGwire. Bernie says until Bonds and Clemens admit what I thought Roger did. And Russian Reb is channeling in his inner John Cleese. This is not an argument. It's a discussion. You know what I'm saying. But, you know, to have this conversation in the open, I'd be curious. Pitch to Paul, who's 1 for 2. Josh hits this one in the right field. Ichiro back in the corner, but that will stay in the yard and retire the side. In fact, Ichiro made a great catch against the wall. He's rubbing his shoulder again, but he gets the gold star. No runs a hit. The White Sox leave a runner on. We go to the 8th, 5-2 Seattle. So Martin, Lampkin, and Bell to face Barcelo. Martin 1 for 3 with a single. Oh, Rogers denied it, and Bonds had to admit it in court. Pitch to Martin. There's a ground ball to first. Thomas. 1 out. So here's Lampkin, who's 0 for 3. Thomas struck out. And apparently I have a shipment from Amazon that's coming. That's always good. Pitch to Lampkin. There's a fly ball, right field. Ordonez will make the catch. And there's 2 away. So Barcelo has gone a full inning. There's David Bell. He's 0 for 3. Bernie says they could put the steroid guy in as long as there's a plaque that reads their accomplishments. I have no trouble with that. None at all. Probably an asterisk there. Pitch to Bell. There's a ground ball to Valentin. Jose on the grass has to hurry, and Bell is safe on an error. So, as we said, the White Sox had immaculate fielding the first part of this replay. Now it's their 4th error of the ball game. It was a low throw, and Thomas couldn't come up with it. So 2 out for Guillen, who has a solo homer, his first. He only had 5 on the real year. He's 1 for 3. Got him. So a late called strike 3, and that'll do it. The error does not hurt. No runs, no hits. 1 error. Bottom of the 8th, 5-2 Seattle. Bernie wouldn't personally want to be in if his plaque reminded him of branding me a steroid user forever. Oh, I could see that. Here's Ray Durham, top of the lineup for the Sox. Valentin and Thomas to follow. Ray is 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Ryan Franklin in the 2nd inning of work. There's a ground ball to Guillen. Carlos. 1 out. Oh, there are steroid guys in the hall. In fact, I think there are probably 2 recent. Well, Pud Galvin was an admitted steroid user. Here's Valentin. Jose 1 for 3. A homer and 2 RBI. Is 4 now on the replay. There's a couple I think they have long been suspected of being juicers. And I'm not talking about Mike Piazza. He draws the walk. And so Valentin is on. Leadoff walk for Frank Thomas, who's 1 for 3. I wasn't even thinking Bagwell. Franklin throws to first. Valentine's back. There's a ground ball left side, base hit. Martin will pick it up. And Valentine is going to try for third. They're going to run on Martin's bad arm. Valentine's sprint is in there. The throw went into Guillen, and his runners on the corners, one out for Ordonez, who now is a tying run. I hadn't even thought of Big Poppy, but you're right. Pudge and I pretty much share a birthday. Henderson, I've never heard that about. But you didn't mention the two that I was thinking of. Think a bit older. Lampkin goes out to talk with Franklin. Runners on first and third. Pitch to Maggie. Base hit left field. Martin's going to go chase this one down. He cuts it off. Valentine scores. The throw to second. Ordonez is in there. So second and third now a two-run game. Remember, the computer's running Seattle and the White Sox with one out have the tying run in scoring position, and Paul Konerko the go-ahead run at the plate. Well, A-Rod, yeah. But not who I was thinking of. Well, actually, you're in Chicago. And A-Rod's not in the Hall. So Konerko 1 for 3. Thomas on third. Ordonez on second. Pitch to Konerko. Ground ball to Olerud. Thomas is going to scamper home. Underhanded to Franklin covering the bag, and there's two out. But now it's a one-run game. And Jeff Nelson's coming in. So Franklin just shakes his head on his way to the dugout. It is now a one-run ball game. Jeff Nelson is already 3-1 on the replay, his 10th appearance, with a .491 earned run average. That gets you around the highway and byway in Hartford, Connecticut. 34 years old, a ground ball pitcher. And the slider tops out at 91. Nelson is 21st in the American League in wins. He lost his last time out on the 22nd. A 6-2 loss, 2/3 of an inning, 26 pitches, 2 hits, 3 runs all earned, a homer, a walk and a strikeout. So overall for Nelson, 7 1/3, 5 hits, 4 runs all earned, a home run, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts. I bet it developed better than Larry Anderson's body did. 3-1 the record, again with a .491 ERA. So here's Carlos Lee. He is the go-ahead run at the plate. He's 1 for 3 with a strikeout. Nelson comes in. Ordonez down the line. Base hit. We're tied up. Lee has 2 on the double. And the White Sox have climbed the mountain. 5 runs, 9 hits, 4 errors. They have left on 4. Seattle, 5 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors. And they have left on 7. Here's Singleton. He is 0 for 3. So the save chance is gone. Nelson's blown it. Right back to Jeff. Over to first. Singleton looks. He is out. How did Brady Anderson hit 50 home runs? A lot of B12 vitamins. So Barcelo now is the pitcher of record. And they really don't have much. I think you got to go with Folky here, don't you? You could go with Kip Wells. Mr. Howard, how are you? Remember, the thing with... We're going to bring in Wells. Kip hasn't pitched in this replay. Yeah, Brady juiced. Kip kind of Ramiro Mendoza's Swiss Army knife pitcher. He would go 20 times out of the pen, start 20 games. Went 10-11 with a 4.79 ERA. 24 years old, a fastball at 93, and a fly ball pitcher. .133 and a third, put the needle on the record. 145 hits, 14 homers, 61 walks, and 99 strikeouts. It'll be Ichiro, Cameron, and Martinez to face him in the ninth. The thing with steroids is it didn't make the ball go farther. It allowed you to work more in the gym and recover faster. So it helped build body mass that way, which in turn gave you more strength in the field. Ichiro, ground ball to Wells, third base side. Kip starts the season over to first, one out. You two of you, no one's named the two names I was thinking of. I think Canseco came out of the womb juicing. So here's Cameron. Mike 1 for 4. He has singled, struck out, stole a base, and scored. Chicago with 3 in the bottom of the 8th to tie this puppy up at 5. Cameron. Takes a weird hop off the mound. Wells tried to get his glove there. Valentin grabs it and throws it away. And that's the 5th error for Chicago. And so the go-ahead run is in scoring position with 1 out for Edgar. And they're going to walk him. So Cameron with good speed on second. Martinez on first. Olerud, you normally wouldn't want to do that, but a ground ball gets you out of it. And I hit the wrong button. Nobody moving. Canseco a supplier? Probably. Tony La Russa knows an awful lot about that, I'm sure. So 1 out and a 1-ball count. Olerud struck him out. A 1-2 curve outside on the black. 2 out for Brett Boone, who has homered. 1 for 4. Yeah, the thing with Canseco is he just wasn't well liked. So Cameron on second, Martinez on first. Kip Wells trying to hold this to a 5-5 tie. Kicks and fires. Boone in the right or left center. Singleton coming in. Rides the Schwinn. We go to the bottom of the 9th. And the White Sox have a chance to walk it off. So Perry is 0 for 3. He'll bat. Nelson, wonder how long he'll pitch. Sasaki is waiting if the Mariners should go that route. Perry, it's a ground ball towards the bag at first. Olerud has it, underhands it to Nelson. Brett Boone, yep. So 1 out, and we'll have a pinch hitter for Paul. He's going to go get the fish special. So who can hit a righty? It won't be Harold Baines. Tony Graffinino. 9 for 18, even 500 as a pinch hitter with an RBI. He has a homer and 4 RBI. That's right. In Game 1, the Gibson game, Canseco smashed one off the camera in center field. But he didn't get the last laugh. Nelson winds and fires. Ball 4, so the winning run is on for Ray Durham, who was 0 for 4 with a strikeout. Graffinino can hold his own on the bases. Ray still has an 8-game hitting streak. So one more chance to extend this to 9. Outfield playing at the warning track, a no doubles defense. Pitch to Durham. There's a base hit into left center. That's going to get down in front of Cameron. Graffinino is going to hold at second with 1 out. And Arthur Rhodes is going to come in to pitch. So Nelson's night is done. Rhodes making his 12th appearance, 7 2/3 innings. No record and an earned run average of .352. He's 31 years old, a fastball pitcher at 93. And a ground ball plus pitcher. Last pitch last night in a 1-0 loss to the Yankees. He faced one batter and struck him out on 5 pitches. 7 2/3, 7 hits, 3 runs all earned, 2 homers. He walked 3 and struck out 9. We'll get this in quick. Manny hit the hardest ball that Pesky Pole ever saw in person his first year in Boston. Snuck down to the seats behind home plate. Manny hit a ball and the sound hurt your ears. The ball just kept on going up and went over the light tower in left field. Yep. So Graffinino is the only runner right now that matters. Ray Durham can pull out the Adirondack chair and sit at first. Valentin already has a homer in this ballgame. Lefty versus righty here. Thomas on deck. Got him. A curved ball in there at the knees with a full count. And that'll bring up Frank Thomas, who is 2 for 4. He has singled twice and scored. And a single now would win the ball game. And a home run would send this place into ecstasy. It's now 46 degrees here at Comiskey Park. The wind blowing in from left center at 7. Rhodes delivers, and he strikes out Thomas. And Chicago can't do anything with it. They had the winning run in scoring position, and that's where he stayed. Free baseball here at Comiskey after 9, 5-5. So Sandy Alomar Jr. comes in to catch and will bat 9th. Sandy a 3 and a 2. Wells will face Martin, Lampkin, and Bell. Al is 1 for 4. Pitch from Wells is a ground ball to Thomas. 1 out. The White Sox, with 3 in the 8th to tie this game, have committed 5 errors. Lampkin is 0 for 4. 5, 10, and 5 for Chicago. 7 left on. 5, 8, and 2 for Seattle. Left on 9. Al had free baseball late last night. He's doing what? All-time Giants and Dodgers? And Stan Javier, by the way, will pinch hit as a pinch hitter. 1 for 5, 200 with an RBI. 207 overall, a homer, and 2 RBI. And there's a ground ball to Valentin over to Thomas for the out. So 2 out for Bell, who's 0 for 4. Ordonez, Konerko, and Lee do up in the 10th for Chicago. Wells will face a pinch hitter? Really? Charles Gibson, Gipson. Interesting move. Maybe not. 3 for 9, a double and a triple. Replay's a fun game. Pitch to Gibson. Ground ball to third. Perry's got it over to Thomas, and that will retire the side. Seattle goes down cleanly in the 10th. We go to the bottom of the frame, 5-5. So Ordonez, Konerko, and Lee to face Arthur Rhodes, who's already thrown 11 pitches in 2/3 of an inning. Ordonez has a single, a double, an RBI, a run scored. Yeah, lucky you. We're running late. Aaron Seeley and James Baldwin. So, Brad, when's the next time that Dewey Evans is up in the Veterans Committee? Pitch to Ordonez. Walked him. So the winning run is on. 2026, okay? Konerko 1 for 4. Has singled. Driven in a run. Rhodes. Up the middle. Might be 2. Rhodes stabs it. Boone for 1. Over to Olerud. 1, 4, 3. 2 out. For Carlos Lee, who's 2 for 4. He has singled, doubled, and driven in a run. So Kent and Sheffield will be in. Now that's an interesting case, Gary Sheffield, who bounced around an awful lot. Kind of like Roland, very good numbers offensively. And Dewey's got to compete with everyone else in that 80 to 2009 group. So Rhodes a little tired now. Wind now howling in from left center at 15. Pitch to Lee. Carlos into right field, but that should stay in play. Suzuki. Ichiro makes the catch. We go to the 11th. No runs, no hits, no errors. After 10, it's Seattle 5, White Sox 5. So Guillen, Ichiro, and Cameron to face Wells, going into his 3rd inning of work. Guillen is one of the reasons why we're still here. He hit a solo shot. He's 1 for 4. Up the middle, a base hit. Singleton will pick it up. Ichiro 1 for 5. A run scored and a stolen base. Carlos, a 50-50 shot to steal. Nobody out. 11th inning. And again, another drag bunt down there. Thomas will pick it up. He will do what with it? He's going to go to Durham. I'll just tag him. So Thomas tags him, pats him on the head. Guillen moves to second for Cameron, who was 1 for 5. He has singled, struck out, scored, and stole the base. In the left, Lee. 2 out. Yeah, Roland's first guy to gain election after starting as low as he did, 10% his first year. I saw the graph of the top 5 today. Don Drysdale is on that list too. Here's Edgar, 1 for 2. Has a single, an RBI, and a walk. Guillen on second, 2 out, top of the 11th. Singleton, Parry, and Sandy Alomar Jr. in the bottom of the inning. Wells deals. Gets away from Alomar, and Guillen goes to 3rd. Yeah, it's mind-boggling how many guys like Drysdale. Timmy Raines. And again, we were talking about this earlier. Barra wasn't a first-year inductee. Eddie Matthews took 5 years. That's nuts. Raines took the full 15. Campy took 5, including after winning 3 MVPs. You can make that argument about Dale Murphy with his 2. So Guillen down the line. That's a walk. That's a walk. So Edgar on first. So runners on the corners, 2 out for Olerud, who was 2 for 5. 5-5, 2 out, top of the 11th there at Comiskey. Pitch to Olerud. There's a high ground ball to Durham. Ray snap throw to Thomas, and that will retire the side. Mariners threaten but do not score. No runs, a hit, a walk, no errors. The M's have left on 11. After 10.5, 5-5. So Singleton, Parry, and Alomar Jr. And let's see what they do with Arthur Rhodes here, who was tired after an inning and 2/3. Stays in the ball game. Singleton is 0 for 5 as he strikes out. And Jose Paniagua is going to come in. So they're going to save Sasaki for if there's a save situation. Jose 1-0. An earned run average of 327, making his 8th appearance of the year. 27 years old, fastball at 94 and a ground ball pitcher. Mr. Howard, if you are still here, you should go back and listen to about a 5-minute stretch last night where Vin Scully talks goats. Paniagua pitched the 25th against the Yankees, so 2 days ago. That would be Wednesday in the New York 4-1 win. Inning in 2/3, 31 pitches, 1 hit, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. 11 innings, 12 hits, 4 runs, all earned. He's walked 5. And struck out 11. 1 out for Parry. It was pretty funny. Parry is 0 for 4. There's a ground ball to short. Guillen across the way. Bernie asked the question as Alomar comes to the plate, 2 out. Sandy at 207, a homer and 8 RBI. What are these guys going to do when all these players today get up for a vote? Oh, I think the 90s are underrepresented to begin with. I think they're going to be running the same logjam. You're going to have a ton of pitchers get in. Verlander, Kershaw, Scherzer. There are some that can hit. I mean, Trout's obviously going to be in the Hall of Fame. You got to think Aaron Judge is headed for Cooperstown. Mookie Betts is going to go to Cooperstown. They'll find him. But it just may not be as easy. Alomar, the last catcher in the ball game, laces this one into right field. Ichiro will pick it up. So here's Ray Durham, 2 out. Ray 1 for 5. He does have a game-winning RBI and is singled and struck out tonight. And I remember, I think it was the All-Star game in Pittsburgh. And somebody had an earned run average over 5. A Kingman. Dave was not the most press-friendly person in the world. And I forget who the pitcher was that came in, but he had an earned run average over 5. I want to say Kenny Rogers. And Costas had a conniption fit over it, but y'all got to have a representative, and he had done his job. Tristan Cassis going to Cooperstown. You hope in about 20 years. Pitch to Durham. Alomar leads off at first. That's into right center. Cameron moving in, Suzuki moving over, and that will retire the side. Kip Wells is going to pitch his 4th inning. We go to the 12th. Goodness gracious, Buffy St. Marie, 5-5. You've got me yapping for an hour and 24 today. Here's Boone. Brett 1 for 5, a 2-run shot. Where's Demos so we can do a 14th inning stretch? Since he hasn't debuted yet, yeah, 20 years would be impressive. He'd have to punch a Hall of Fame career into a 12 to 15-year career. You never know. Boone, 1 for 5. That's into center field. Singleton moving over. And there's 1 out for Al Martin, who was 1 for 5. So Kip Wells, the guy hadn't used him yet, coming in and out of the pen and has given the White Sox 3 1/3 great innings. To short, Valentin in the hole, over to Thomas, 2 out. So here's Dan Wilson. He's in the game. 10 for 53, 189, 2 homers, and 6 RBI. Gibson, by the way, at third. It'll be Valentin, Thomas, and Ordonez. Since Cassis is mentioned, who's the greatest Red Sox first baseman in franchise history? Double X gets the vote in my book. Although you can make a case for Jose Offerman. Pesky Paul. Mike says, of course he'll be on the Dodgers in 7 years. Is that after John Henry lowballs him and then apologizes? Pitch to Wilson. There's a line drive left field. That's going to get around the corner. Carlos Lee will pick it up. Wilson's going to have extra bases. Perry, not a great third baseman, and the go-ahead run is in scoring position for Charles Gibson, not to be confused with the anchor Charles Gibson. Charles is 0 for 1. You can make a case for Mo, but I think you got to go with Jimmy Fox. Salty much? It's those ramen noodles that came back to bite me. Pitch to Gibson. There's a ground ball to Thomas. This could be an interesting thing. Nope, he takes it to the back. And that will retire the side. Pass me the bag of Mr. Salty Pretzels. We go to the bottom of the 12th inning. It's still 5-5. And they didn't bite me in the same place Henry did. Yep, we've discussed my thoughts on the Red Sox ownership group. Mo Vaughn in my lifetime as well. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. We go to the bottom of the 12th, 5-5. So Valentin, Thomas, and Ordonez to face Jose Paniagua. Jose, a home run earlier. He's 1 for 4. There's a ground ball base hit left side, and the winning run is on. So this one's been all that in a bag of chips. Here's Frank Thomas. He is 2 for 5. He is singled twice, struck out and walked. Henry has worn out his welcome. Yeah, Mo has been forgotten. I think it would have helped if Vaughn, when he left the Red Sox, he had a couple good years for the Mets, but nothing really to write home about. Those White Sox do keep on chugging. Yeah, Clevenger. We won't get into that, but it's bad. Throw to first, and Jose is back. Thomas really cannot hit and run, so he won't. Nobody out. Bottom of the 12th here at Comiskey in a 5-5 tie. Yeah, the knees gave out for Vaughn. Pitch to Thomas. Frank into left center field. That's going to get down. Martin will pick it up in the alley. Valentin will. Oh, Martin's going to bobble it. That's going to help things out even further. Valentin goes to third. He's going to hold right there. It's a single and an error. And for the Mariners, that's their third error. And you got to think they're going to walk Ordonez to walk him loaded. If Vaughn had just not slipped down those stairs. Yep. So the game right now, no, Maggie has a bunt rating of 0. I bet they'll walk him. So Valentin, the only runner that matters. They pitch Martin into foul territory. Has to go back. That's pretty shallow. He's got it. Valentin tags. Here comes the throw to Wilson. Game over. A sac fly wins it. Ordonez, with Martin playing in, had to go back and get it in foul territory. Martin, not a great arm at all. Valentin with decent speed tagged on the throw, and it wasn't close. And the White Sox win this one 6-5. 6 runs, 13 hits, and 5 errors for Chicago. That does include that catcher's interference. They leave on 8. The Mariners had their chances. 5 runs, 10 hits, 3 errors. And they leave on 12. Kip Wells. Yeah, you got to let that one drop. You're right. Gets the win in his season debut. 4 innings out of the pen. 2 hits, 2 walks, and a strikeout. Paniagua takes the loss. 1 run, or it was unearned. 1 inning, 3 hits. And I'll do it one more time. You can put it on the board. Yes! For the White Sox, who win this one. Aaron Seeley and Baldwin were long gone. What a ball game. Over 400 pitches involved. And so the White Sox moved to 17-4. And the Mariners dropped to 15-8. Now the rest of this Friday night in baseball for you. The last Friday in April, it'll be the Devil Rays 5, the Tigers 4. Meacham 3-1, Murray 0-2. Gerald Williams is third of the year, 1 for 3 and 2 RBI. Texas beats Cleveland 3-2. Brantley with a win. Wickman with a loss. Gabe Kapler 3 for 4 with 3 doubles. And as soon as Anaheim beats Toronto 8-3. Washburn 1-1. Esteban Loaiza goes to 1-3. Tim Salmon 3 for 4, 2 homers and 3 RBI. A's beat the Yankees 6-5. Mark Mulder 2-1. El Duque falls to 2-1. Miguel Tejada 4 for 5, his 5th of the year with a stolen base. Royals beat the Red Sox 11-5. Stein 3-0. Lieutenant Frank Castillo 2-2. Quinn 2 for 3, his 3rd of the year and 3 RBI. Mets beat the Cardinals 5-2. Don Wall 1-1. Klein 1-1. Jay Payton hits his 1st of the year, 2 for 5 and 4 RBI. Montreal beats the Brewers 7-6. Mota 1-1. Curtis Laskanik falls to 0-1. Stevens 3 for 4. Strokes his 9th of the year, drives in 2. Houston beats Florida 4-3. Powell 2-1. Brad Penny falls to 2-2. Hidalgo 2 for 3, his 2nd of the year, and drives in 2. Baltimore beats Minnesota 4-2. Mercedes 4-1. Mays 3-1. Richard 2 for 3, 2 RBI and a triple. Rockies beat the Reds in 12, 6-5. Dingman gets his first win. Danny Graves makes Brad cry. He's 0-2. The Mayor, Sean Casey, 4 for 6, his 4th with 3 RBI. Arizona shuts down Atlanta 9-0. Reynoso goes to 1-3. John Burkett 1-3. Craig Counsell 3 for 5, a double and a stolen base. San Francisco beats Chicago 9-3. Dave Gardner goes to 3-1. How about that? And Kerry Wood 0-2. Barry Bonds strikes his 7th. Yes, it's the ownership that makes all of us cry, Brad, not the players. Bonds is 7th. He drives in 3. Padres commit 4 errors in a 5-4 loss to Pittsburgh. Anderson 3-0. Jones 1-4. Ramirez 3 for 4 and 3 with 3 RBIs and a double. And one that will make the Boogie Whip happy. The Phillies 11, the Dodgers nothing. Telmaco 2-1. Adams 1-2, and Anderson 3 for 5. Tomorrow it'll be the Cubs and the Giants. Julian Tavares versus Sean Estes, noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. I'm Ron Juckett. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a good day, everybody. So long.